Hey everybody, I'm back. I think this is live. I have no idea. I only have one monitor on my laptop, so we'll see how this plays out. But I think, let's see. And Shawn, oh, that's not Shawn. That's something else. Hold on one sec. That was some code. So let's go back to this, and then go back to this, and then do this. And there he is. All right, so let's see if I do that. I'm gonna try and get you in a position so you can actually see what's seen. Do you see that now?
Uh, I see. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Yes, we're already live.
Yeah. And
It's
that.
so funny. When we're in without frame, everything looks fine. As soon as we go in frame, you zoom right into whatever pile of crap I have sitting right behind me. Nice. There we go. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah. So, so refresh. Oh, there we go. Hey, it's working.
Yes.
All right, we have zero concurrent user. If anyone's on the chat, good luck to you. It says there's somebody on the chat already, and yeah, I'm sorry because that's not happening today. I don't-
Oh, somebody's in the chat.
Hold on, wait. Let's see if I can do this. Chat.
Has anyone ever interacted with us while we were streaming?
No, but it says there's somebody in the chat. I can. Uh, hello, everyone here. Oh no, no one's here. It's just letting me know that somebody's here. Like it's connected.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, I'm getting a warning. I'm sure the bandwidth, the stream's bit rate. Yeah, whatever. Go away. Okay, we're good. Hey, Shawn.
Hey,
Happy
John.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
How have you been? Oh,
Yeah, just glad to be past the new year.
yeah.
Excited for the new year because fuck 2024, right? Just just right out the window. Let's
Like I
go.
said, this is not made for kids.
Oh, absolutely. Sorry, was I not supposed to do
No.
that?
That's why I listed that because I knew this is gonna happen. 2024
Yeah,
was a rough time for the world. Is the best way to put it.
yeah. We'll carve out. We'll know when sponsors are here. We'll talk a little more PG.
Yeah, it's fine.
But it's Tech Christmas, CES. It's like
Yes.
favorite time of the year. I'm always super excited. And I think for the last 2 years, I have brought one thing directly from like CES. Not at CES, but like CES made me aware of something and then I brought it.
So the so yeah, I was at CES this year again, and the one thing that really stood out to me
Mm-hmm.
was this Withings, which is a health tech company, and they make
Mm-hmm.
scales and things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
they had this mirror and a scale that would
Mm-hmm.
do an entire body analysis and composition of you.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that. I saw that. And stuff like that makes me excited because it doesn't feel like, well, first of all, I I have not been to CES in a very long time. I want to say I'm just old. I think I went to 2000.
See, I the first one I went to was 2004. So,
Yeah, I'll just say 2000 for I remember. And I wanted to be a tech journalist, and that was just like my frame of mind. And I legit just said, I'm going to CES. Doesn't matter. No one's paying the bill. I'm paying the bill. Completely overwhelmed. Like it was, I'd never seen anything like it. But one thing that I've seen a trend, like they used to introduce things that just seem so far away.
Right.
And
Hold on
now,
one. Let me go mute this TV.
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
be right back. There you go.
yeah,
I don't want to get busted for any type of copyright music that might be playing on
yeah.
TV at some point. I was like,
Hmm.
all right, sorry, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, but it just felt like everything they introduced back then would take so long to come to market.
Right. There is a pod that I saw that is infrared, red light therapy, magnetic. I think the list price for it is like 90K. Like,
Hmm.
and they're shipping betas now, but they're like, we should have our final version in like 2027. And I'm like,
Mm.
that's like two CSs from now.
We'll all be on something else in two CESs from now.
Right.
The that'll probably be the birthplace of the robot rebellion. Like they'll all get sentient at CES and like kill everybody
Yeah, I'm down. That I
there.
get. I'll be there.
I'll embrace our robot overlords, our
Absolutely.
AI powered robot overlords.
Yeah, and it's one
Thanks,
of
NVIDIA. We
yeah
appreciate we appreciate you selling us
the
out.
the AI influx of what I saw at the booths at CES was insane. I saw everything from an AI powered smoker, and I
Hmm.
was like, my brisket does not need to be AI powered.
I disagree with you wholeheartedly, sir.
Well, as a
Wholeheartedly.
chef, you probably would be like,
well,
actually, that would be amazing.
I think when people just don't understand how complicated a brisket is, smoking a brisket. So if I can have an easy button or an AI assistant going, taking care of it, I'll take it.
And it'll do all, and it was Wi-Fi connected and will send you notifications and things like
Hmm.
that. They had pool cleaners. They had more of the wearable tech. A lot.
Hmm.
One of the new, and maybe it's not new, but I guess it's new to me because of my current situation. Um, is age tech. You like my current situation?
You mean our situation?
And there was an entire section dedicated to age tech to
Wow.
keep like the elderly mobile and helping them like I mean I know you're laughing because
I'm
we're not
laughing
that
because all of a sudden words like mobility mean something different to me than it
yes
did
yeah
20 years ago.
mobile first means a whole different thing when you get to
Yep,
our age.
exactly right.
And
Exactly.
it was really fascinating because that's a market I never even thought of that. And now I'm like, oh, I'm all about age tech because it affects me, right?
Hmm.
Well, it
Hmm.
doesn't yet, knock on wood. Uh, but eventually it will. And things like mobility, vision, like, and
Hmm.
a lot of it had to do with ADA too, right? Is
Hmm.
you want to include people to be able to use all sorts of things. So, like, one of the things I have thought about is the Oculus, the Apple Vision Pro. How do you do that for somebody who's visually impaired? You can't.
I disagree again.
Great.
Did
Tell
you
me.
see did you see this Amazon show called Upload or Up I think it's called Upload.
Yeah, I did.
Where the guy got, I think we talked about it. Maybe we made a reference to it, right? So second reference, right? Like he got uploaded and his whole consciousness. So I think just like everything else, things are on like a spectrum. So it's so maybe if I have my full vision, I get the full experience. But maybe if I can't see as well, maybe I get a more AI assistant. Hey, there's a wall there, there's this there. Because remember, all of our perspectives are based on our levels of situation, right? So you mean to tell me if I couldn't see at all, I wouldn't find value in something can real time see things and kind of tell me and
And you're saying it would actually operate as your eyes and it would be your narrow, it would basically be a real life screen reader of not a screen.
people do not give Apple and iPhone technology enough credit that it completely changed the trajectory for people with vision impairment, right?
Especially,
And
I know with the phone, you can actually hold it up and it will
mhm,
identify things, and it will
yeah,
allow you. Yes, I've seen that.
and now there's nothing to hold, and the fidelity and visual, like there's so many problems we can still solve with you wearing goggles and having some assisted version of what we consider to be AR or VR.
Right. No, I see the idea of AR specifically and being
Mhm.
able to have that. I never thought of it as a screen reader, but basically it could be like a real life screen reader of for people who need that level of impairment.
Yeah, and that so going back to our conversation from last time about AR, VR, like we're currently at the meta glasses, right?
Hmm.
The camera. So that tech, everyone's trying to solve, like, here's my Apple Vision Pro, right?
Right.
This is the Cadillac, right? But this is big, bulky, expensive compared to the Meta glasses, where you just put them on like a regular pair of glasses. I've had two different meetings where the person was wearing the Meta glasses, and I could not tell until the end of the meeting. So it's just becoming so like I wasn't even thinking about. And I look for these type of things, right?
Right.
So that tech could enhance a person's with limited vision today. Like we could solve problems with that today. My snap glasses, my snap lenses, the spectacles, I could solve um, some of those vision issues today,
That's cool.
right? Like, and so we're not talking about future tech. We're talking about the tech of the day being able to enhance people with disabilities, like situations today. Because just like you said, like you were like, oh well, why would a blind person want a VR glass? Now you start understanding, like,
Because it can actually help them perceive the world the way we do.
well, no, not the way
Well,
we
in
do.
regards to audio, right? It will
Yeah,
actually.
it what I think the like the little twist there is it can help them perceive the world in a way that we can't,
Fair. Hmm. That
right?
makes
Because
sense.
your body automatically does that. If like your senses are tuned up based on what senses you have available.
Right. Which goes back to Daredevil, right?
The classic case. I mean, there's a little
Yeah,
bit of
that's
Mutant
a
Ninja
shout out
Turtle
to
in
my
there, but
brother who is a huge Daredevil fan.
yeah,
But
that was cool.
but that speaking of, yeah, in regards to some of the ADA stuff that I did see there, there was the robot legs that allowed people that are paralyzed to walk.
Yeah, yeah. This is
That was crazy to see. Of like, guy hasn't walked since an accident in what, like 15 years.
mm-hmm,
Sat in this chair, it attached to him,
mm-hmm.
and he stood up and then
Yeah,
started
I saw that as well.
and
It,
started walking forward, and I was
it
like,
was very mech. It was
it
pretty
was
mech.
very Mac,
Like
absolutely.
yeah, because so assisted walking technology, bioskeletons, like this tech has been like kind of under the radar. Like I want to say Panagonia, the brand that has
Patagonia, yeah,
yeah,
Patagonia.
Patagonia, right? I think that they have a pair of power assistant like pants now. It's super expensive, but you can buy it now. Like you gotta make an appointment,
Get
get
fitted,
fitted,
yeah.
but you can have this now. Like this is not the future. This is
Now,
like yeah, this is like days of future now.
so in regards to the future, what do you think? And this is something we were talking about while we were there, because we go, oh, if this is already here, then what's next? So
Exactly.
here's my question for you then is sure it's very mechanical right now, but do
Hmm.
you think we'll get to a point where we'll solve it through biology? So we'll have
Great question.
actual biologic
Great question.
biotech, right? True
Yeah.
biotech that will allow us to like nanobots and be able to instantly repair organs internally.
Well, one, I do believe nanotechnology is. I think some of the technologies that we use as buzzwords, i.e., AI, will have like kind of resurgence because like we've had these little moments, right? Like nanotechnology had its moments, right?
Hmm.
And I would say that when I went to CES, the theme every CES has a theme, and big screen televisions and like nano coated surfaces. I remember those things being mentioned, right? But since then, you hardly ever hear anyone talk about nanotechnology. But what I think is that because we have AI now and we can do much more faster research, we can simulate things to train the model. I think that yes, sandwiching these some of these technologies will yield things that we just haven't thought of yet.
Yeah, and that's what I would be excited. There is a, and I wish I should have done more research before we chatted, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there was a movie a long time ago, and this guy injected himself with these little robots, and
Mm-hmm.
they were that small, but they healed, like they would go cure cancer and fix organs and update things.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would go collect themselves and wait until something was needed. And then
Mm-hmm.
they would be notified by the nervous system to repair things.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, it's just so funny. It's like where is the line between the movie and like I've seen a lot of like videos and like I don't know, just videos of that tech not quite living up to that height, like to that level of science
Right.
fiction, but just programmable, sorry, I'm getting tongue tied. Programmable bio machines,
Right.
and that is not science fiction. Like I always refer to things as science fiction, meaning I believe it, but I can't explain how we get there. And then there's the like science now. Like I either can see it and I can explain the basic principles of how it should work. That's where we are with that tech, right? Like
Right.
injecting and bio robots, which is essentially nanobots. Um, and I think to answer your question, I do believe that we are still in the mimic stage, right? So people who solve like problems like that mimic things in nature, right?
Right.
There's a reason why we mimic insect brains and animal brains because they do things that we can't do efficiently well. So we're trying to learn through those efficiencies before we can like frame the problem in a way that can help us.
So, the big presentation this for this CES was Delta, and
Hmm.
Delta had this huge thing at the Sphere, and I was lucky enough to be in the middle of it.
Hmm.
Um, and it was crazy cool. In regards to the mimicking, and they had even talked about this. They have a partnership with Airbus now, and Airbus is talking about how they're going to have planes start to fly in formations to actually be more efficient in regards to actually flying, like ducks. And
Hmm.
then they're talking about movable wings and flappable wings,
Hmm.
like birds,
Hmm.
because if you want somebody who knows how to fly, talk to a bird.
Exactly.
And they're already looking, they're like, we already have things with movable wings, and
Hmm.
now we're trying to figure out on how we can do that because they've solved the physics of taking something that big and making it fly. But now imagine if they use the efficiencies that nature already has described to help
Hmm.
them even advance that faster and more efficiently.
Yeah, and continue on your question. Do I believe that we'll go from mimicking to integration? Yeah, I think. I think on the main, yes, I think in general, it's like it's still science fiction to me because I believe it, but I can't really explain all the basic principles. I think that we're still in the mimic stage. Like, oh, I need to solve this very complex problem, but this bee can do it floating in midair without even thinking about it.
Right.
So, and again, as these technologies start to layer themselves on top of each other, before that was research that I had to do myself. I can now, thanks to NVIDIA, set using, again, I wasn't at CES, but I did see a bunch of the presentations. Just using one of the things that I saw, they're using, so when we train models, we got to set up this training, and it's, well, when we train robots, it was up until NVIDIA, it was a very manual process, right? Like they will watch us do things thousands and thousands of times and then repeat it. The brilliant, the brilliant nature of you don't have to watch me do it. You can watch this simulation, this AI driven simulation of what I want you to learn thousands and hundreds of thousands of times to learn. I think when we apply that level of simulated training, we can solve many problems that we just haven't gotten to yet.
Because the simulations will help us train the robots faster.
Help us train the robots faster, help us solve the problem faster. So like drop out the robot in that context and put in the biomechanical, you know, nanobot, right? Like
Do you think we're going to get to general intelligence?
I think we're there already. I think they
See,
have it. They've had it for some time, or you
Sam
know,
claims that. So Sam Altman claims that. And
listen,
I don't
I
know.
I fancy myself a futurist. He's starting to scare me,
Yeah, I believe
right?
that.
Let's just get this out the way. He's starting to scare me a little bit. You know, he came off as a person who doesn't care about money and only cares about like just growing this technology. I absolutely believe that we have general intelligence. I think it's there, or I think some version of it's there, and he's just like, well, I'm just waiting to figure out how to make money with it.
Well, he even said that we have it internally. And I was like,
Mhm.
well, why is it not public? Right? I mean, don't get me wrong, running those kind of questions and queries, it does. It's expensive and there's a lot of compute power behind it and all of that. But let the world have it. Like, that's
I
crazy
think
cool.
I think we need to be kept. I think I had gotten my brain to a point where I was like, I'm not going to fear the boogeyman, right? Like people, AI is going to change everything, but
Uh oh.
when we get to this level, I think there is a good reason to have fear,
Well,
right? Like first of all, fear is a very important thing for our survival, right?
it's a great motivator.
It's a great motivator, but also it's a protector. It's like it's meant to be there to give you that the willies when you're doing something maybe you shouldn't be doing.
And you feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how I feel now, kind of taking in everything that I'm able to do with AI. And now you mean that there can be a version of me that's not even me doing these things. What either I know we're kind of getting off topic, but we probably need to adopt very quickly a living wage. Like we need to get our society off the train of you do a job, you get paid. We need to find ways to sustain the society before we completely obliterate how markets work. Like everything about our economy is built around labor. But when labor has no value, how are we going to adapt? Now, there's
Well,
plenty of examples of other countries where they have it in a system that works well enough where people can no longer only exist to work, but still find value and add value to society.
but the the you're saying that the labor force is about to get decimated by automation through AI.
I'm saying that if we are, I'm getting a little worried that we might lose power, by the
I was like,
way.
what just happened?
Yeah, I think what's happening, things are starting to freeze, and hopefully we won't lose power.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Essentially, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I wasn't worried. I think two things I feel right now. I love the idea that the AI personification of everything at CES, which means that we're moving past the fear. It's just going to become part of everyday life.
right. It's like when the internet first came out, and everyone's
Exactly.
like, "Oh, the internet's not going to be anything. It's just the way people chat now." Sure,
And,
and
and there's a version of that that is true, right? Like
right.
it enhanced our lives. It didn't. No one got hurt. Y2K. Nothing happened.
Well, I mean,
Now,
everybody was on AOL, and we were using IRC and
hmm
doing our little chat stuff. And now, like, that's how we shop. That's how we
hmm
call for food, cars,
everything.
everything. So,
Yeah. So I think, I think that when we start talking about general intelligence, I think, okay, wait a minute, how do we control it in a way that it's not going to be releasing something that's going to change industries where, I mean, listen, our industry has been affected. Technology, like people are struggling, people are afraid, they're angry, they're all emotions are valid, right? Like there's a whole bunch of things that people are feeling, and then you got this guy who, for a long time, was very trustworthy, and now he's just been acting really strange for the last year and a half.
Sam, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I mean, he got fired and then he got called back. And I think there was some negotiations that happened on that callback that no one was in the room where it happened, right? And
hmm
we all kind of were like, why did he go back? Why did he leave? What changed? Like all of those kind of questions. Um, but what was the bio? Sorry,
Yeah.
jumping back
Yep.
to the hack stuff. Like there was a movie I'm gonna reference sci-fi because I love it.
hmm
Was Johnny Mnemonic with Keanu
Yep.
Reeves a long time ago, right?
I love Johnny Mnemonic.
Grit, like obviously that laser whip was the coolest invention ever,
Yep.
but he had the thing in his
hmm
head that allowed him to store memories. And I was like, "Oh my god, how do I get that? I want that today." And then Elon with his Neuralink is actually already doing that
Yeah. I mean,
to an
hopefully we don't.
extent, but I
Hopefully
mean,
the data doesn't overflow the buffer and start corrupting
and
your
yeah,
brain.
sure, making people go crazy. But other than
Yeah.
that,
Yes.
um, the concept is great. There was a book by Michael Crichton called The
hmm
Terminal Man.
hmm
And the thing, and that's exactly what it's about, is this guy was having seizures, and
hmm
they had a device that they put in his head to make the seizures go away. Well, it turned him into a psychotic killer.
I gotta check that book out.
Yeah, great book.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're living Snow Crash, or a version of Snow Crash. We've been living that for quite some time.
And there's like so many little things. I mean, you can go back to the Foundation series, right? And we're
Mm.
all like, "Oh, robots will never be at that level." No, they're there.
Yeah. This is quite the challenge, right? Or pieces of the challenge.
Well, I mean, and that's why autonomous cars exist, and now everyone's like, "Oh, this is horrible. They're going to kill people and blah blah blah."
Uh,
Well, there's your fear concept, right? So
mhm,
what I was talking to somebody about this, and it was fascinating because he's like, if everyone had autonomous cars and no one
mhm,
was driving anymore,
mhm,
and car crashes were cut to 10,000 a year from the 100,000 that happen right now, or I don't know how
mhm.
many. Well, is 10,000 still okay? And the
Well,
answer is no. They want zero, right?
well, I think people. So fear is definitely, I chuckle, but that's fair, right? People are afraid of things they don't understand, and data has a way of being manipulated to basically be weaponized against people. But
100%.
I like the way you put it, right? Like people have no idea how many accidents can be avoided by just systemizing getting from A to B.
Yeah.
And I think, unfortunately, because with these accidents, if we got down to 10,000, some number of those 10,000 would be death, right? Like people would die,
People will
right?
die. Yes.
So, but ultimately, what we're talking about is less people dying.
Right.
And that's, you just we just have to face the fact that that argument, well, in the case of self-driving, that argument's done already. Like we have self-driving cars, like what Waymo is here now.
Well, they had them at CES. They were all
Yeah,
over the place.
all over the place, right? And not just like single cars, but like
Fleets.
fully fleets, like vans that have no interface. You just get in, and then you just end up where you want to end up. Like it's going to change every part of public transportation.
And then like obviously flying is the big thing, right? And everyone wants to go international or even just make it even faster. And now Delta's doing this partnership with Joby, which
Mm-hmm.
allows you to have a faster commute to the airport so you don't even have to worry about traffic because it's these vertical transports. It's basically a drone transport that will
Mm-hmm.
pick you up, go up, take you to the airport and drop you off. No
Perfect.
traffic.
Yeah.
And when that becomes an industry standard, then now we're getting into what was that? The Fifth Element with Bruce Willis with the
Mm-hmm.
taxis.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you have different kinds of traffic. Then you have air traffic.
I mean, listen, every advancement has risk,
Of
and
course.
they need to be mitigated. But I, for one, am looking for, well, it's always a good and a bad. I'm a car guy, and I also have driving. As I age, I have more anxiety about being on the road. Like I don't do well late at night in places I've never been. So I bought a Tesla for that reason. Like there are times I just would love to be able to press a button and relinquish enough control to get somewhere safely.
Get me home. Boom.
Yeah, get me home. Hey, home, right? So I'm I'm very much looking for that. But at the same time, there are times when I'm just dialed in. I want to grab the wheel and I want to be in control and I want to go.
Right.
So hopefully there's something that allows for both of those personalities.
Now, knowing the technology and what the technology needs to provide that kind of, I guess, security and safety, uh, are you concerned about the tracking that's involved in that
No,
from a
because
privacy standpoint?
I have no disillusions. There is no privacy, and it hasn't been any privacy. We've given
Wait,
up
wait,
privacy.
wait. Let's time out. Let's
The
go
time,
back.
right?
I want the world to hear that again.
Mhm.
Say it.
Yes. Oh, there's no privacy. That privacy is an illusion. We've given up our privacy well before the internet age. Like we like there are agencies and companies that have every bit of data about us. That that's their job. They track every time you fill out. Like before, it was about the way it is now. We would fill out surveys. We would do things. We would give away our data before we understood the value of our data. And there's we have cameras. Everyone has cameras. Everyone is filming. Personal privacy, like at least externally, like I could say maybe in my house I might have privacy, but once I step into the public, those
It's
privacies are
gone.
gone. I do believe that police, until proven that they can be trusted, should not have access to like some of the technology that we're talking about, because they've already proven that they can't be trusted.
Like are you referring to like personal cameras and things like that?
I'm referring to surveillance cameras. I'm referring to digitizing case law, like cases and case data and DNA, like being able, like there were a couple of times where people were arrested based on surveillance data that turned out to be completely either manipulated or wrong.
Wow. That would manipulated would suck because then
Well,
you're
this
getting
is the problem,
into
right? Like giving imperfect people access to things they don't fully understand is part of the problem. So when people argue from that perspective, I'm not a person that's like, no, we can't be. I don't want that. I don't want to stop progress. I want things to be metered and controlled enough that nothing is broken that cannot be fixed.
do you so would you be an advocate for an AI jury system?
Wow, that is such a great question. It's such a great question for so many reasons, and I know you didn't intentionally bring this for this reason, but
No.
so on the one side, my futurist self would say yes. But as a black man in this country, how imperfect the justice. First of all, let me just get this out. I love the law, the concept of the law. At one point, law was supposed to be my career. Where it would be hard for me to trust it based on my like what we have in the type of stuff we see in society every day.
Because
So,
what kind of case law would it be trained on?
well, before we even get to the case law that it's trained on, we would have to deal with the biases that exist in just basic machine training.
Right. And that's one of the things I was kind of getting to by saying that is, well, if all of and we had talked about this previously, if all of your training data is on a certain criteria, let's just say it, right? White males. If
Mm-hmm.
everything's trained on white males, then if you get a black female, what is going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to work. And there was a proven example of that of when they had camera detection, facial recognition,
Yeah.
and it just straight up didn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And they're like, "Oh, that's a problem." You think?
it's so funny. And a lot of this is kind of dovetailing back to give us the future, but give it to us in a metered way, and give us some governing body that has like visibility and autonomy to operate on like not like it is now. Like the FDA is a joke, right? Like other countries, we're embarrassed by other countries by the things that the FDA allows us to eat or allows manufacturers to put in our food.
Right.
The FDA, in every governing body that's important, you see these things and you're like, how? This is your only job to keep us at the top of the list. And you see how it fails us. We need some governing body that can not try to control the technology, but just have visibility so that when you see something that's obviously wrong, do something.
But what makes it obvious? That's the
Well, I think that's a good question, but I think we, as long as we don't lose the human-centric design of things,
that's
right?
fair.
We don't build technology items for their sake. We build them to enhance our lives, and if as long as we stay focused on that, which this is a big this discussion can go in like all these different
I
ways
know.
because people just don't realize that we don't build things just to impress ourselves. We're supposed to take all of this amazing tech and improve the lives of others.
We're supposed to.
You're supposed to like that's like my guiding principle is like that's cool, but it's not really cool until it improves the lives of someone you know.
Right. What
Yeah,
problem are you solving and who is it helping? Right.
yeah. When you think about something like CES and you think about all these products being built and all these things, the I think CS is a great example because it's so much of it
It's
that
massive.
it's massive, right? First of all, you cannot understand the convention center. I don't even remember how many football field size this thing is, but it takes you hours to go from one end of the convention center to the other end.
And now it's expanded into hotel convention rooms too.
Yeah, so I no one cares about the problem. No one cares about what you're doing until it solves a problem for them.
Right.
And I think that that's right. I mean, sometimes it obscures visibility because you just, people just don't understand, like, might not have seen something that's important. But I think having the framework that people first, robots are cool as long as they help people. This technology is cool as long as it helps people. And as long as we keep that framework, yeah, we can keep going.
Right. Let's follow Asimov's laws for robot
Mhm.
building and we'll be good to go.
It's amazing to me how many people don't understand that. Just that, like, we
That's it.
gotta have governing rules, right?
And
You
they don't
know.
have to be complicated. We don't need 8,000 pages of documentation. Like, let's keep it simple. He had three basic rules and
Hmm.
let's stick with that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think a lot of the technology, like getting back to CES, a lot of the technology that I saw there, super cool. Uh, but like this stretchable screen I saw, they had, I think it's Samsung who came out with it.
Hmm.
And I'm a huge Samsung fan. I mean, I'm a Galaxy guy and love
Hmm.
Samsung devices, Samsung fridges, all of that. But that stretchable screen, I'm like, why? Super cool,
Hmm.
but what would I use that for?
So it's interesting, right? So I definitely understand that position. So I saw, stretchable screens were all the rage in previous CESs, right? Like, so, even the foldables, right? Like, that was really like a big, like, I think like 2 or 3 CESs ago, that was really big. Everything
Right,
was folding and shifting. You know, display technology has gotten to the point where it doesn't need to have form until you need it to have form, right? So, like, so I'm on my 49-inch Samsung uh, Odyssey monitor, which is amazing, right? But it's curved. I saw another version of this that will be straight, and then you hit a button and it would actually curve. And I thought that that was cool. I saw a laptop that would expand from a 14-inch to a 16-inch vertically to give you more space vertically to see things, in a different perspective. So I'm a fan of the flexible technology because some of the problems that we deal with when using it is different for everybody else. So, like, one, this technology is cheap. I think based on how monitors work, like displays work, it's more expensive to kind of keep this older technology. Like, I'm learning so much more about monitors as we go. I saw a guy take a very old monitor, open it up, remove the backing, and it was transparent. And it was work. This is not like new fancy. It was just a regular monitor. He removed some aspect of the back, and his display was transparent. That was there the whole time. Like, that's how monitors work. I had no idea.
right. That's crazy. Yeah, I like the idea of so when you mentioned about the laptop getting to 16 inches,
Mhm.
like I'm 100% remote right now, and I wish that my monitor would actually get a little bit bigger.
See? Yeah. So
And
so
that's I mean that's a great use case. And I was like, yeah, that
but
would
it's funny
actually be
because
really
we
nice.
still think in frameworks that we are accustomed to.
Right.
I have my Mac Mini, and my AVP, and even though I have this super impressive monitor, in it's already old. It's already tech that if I could get rid of, I might be willing to get rid of it because I've seen a bunch of people actually sell these things and just go with the AVP or equivalent. I yes, I have an AVP, but I could probably do the same thing with my Meta Quest 3.
I when I finally got the AVP to connect with my,
Hmm.
because I was like, all right, I got to get them both on the Wi-Fi. I got to be both on the same Apple ID. I mean, there's a
Hmm.
lot of security that they've implemented in
Yep.
regards to that, which I think is a great thing. But when I got that up and running, you're right. I was like, wow, I don't even need a monitor ever again.
Yep. And it's not like it's not bulky. It's not
It's
like
not grainy. It's
no.
the
It's like
resolution is amazing.
and you know how it is. Like just imagine being well. One, I couldn't imagine what that must have been like to see. Like if I had brought my setup thinking it would have worked. Like some of the things you mentioned, just like getting on the same network stack, like in the same internal network, so that both of them could see each other. I think the answer to that problem is a router, wireless router. But um, that's a challenge, right? Like like because I'm trying to make this my daily driver, and I'm already running into some scenarios where, like at home, it's beautiful, no
Right.
problem, works every time. If I've been somewhere and I've already been on the Wi-Fi, no problem. When I go new places, problem. I went to Atlanta Tech Village the other day, and I wanted to drive my fancy setup, and I could not surmount the Wi-Fi issue because this Mac had not been on it. So I had to get a display, connect it, and then my Bluetooth
Oh, yeah.
keyboard.
If you don't have one to even start, then you're kind of screwed at that point.
Yeah, so yeah, so and again, I've been like twisting my brain on that problem. So I think a wireless router that enables me to take my photos, that always come to me as the quickest solution to that. Or just bring a portable display. You can use an iPad to do it, right? Like, so if you already
Oh,
have an
right.
iPad, you can use you can definitely drive a Mac Mini from an iPad. I don't remember exactly how, but I saw it a couple times.
No, you can. It's the same mirroring concept. You can actually
Yeah.
do it that
I
way.
mean, this is just the funny thing about it, this is just bonjour networking. So
Yeah. No, Apple, I mean, Apple's ecosystem, if you're all in on that ecosystem, it is great.
mhm.
If you try and do Android and iOS and MacBook and connect it to your Dell to get messages, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I will tell you, before I got this M4 Mac Mini, I did the same thing on my Windows Asus Toughbook. I just used Moonlight.
what is Moonlight?
So Moonlight is like a gaming stream, like you can stream. So it allows me to play games on my headset.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I was using my MetaQuest 3 via Moonlight, right? Like the client, and I played my Steam games on it. So that basically I can use my MetaQuest 3 as a VR headset, a PC VR headset.
All
I've been
right.
doing that for a
So
while.
I'm gonna be very selfish right now and ask a very personal question for me.
Uh-huh.
So you're saying if I have a Windows machine, a
Yep.
desktop, right? And I want to play, oh, I don't know, Street Fighter on an Oculus, I
Yep.
could?
Absolutely. And it's super simple. Same challenges of mine. Like you gotta have a good network, but yes, take like 10 minutes.
Um, well, I'm officially on vacation next week, so I
Yeah,
think I
you
know what
ping,
I'm
yeah, ping me. We'll get you set up. The crazy thing about it is, well, do you have your AVP with you all the time, or is
No.
that yeah? Oh, okay. Because I've played games on the AVP, like holding a controller, using the AVP as a screen. I use the same technology to play Xbox games.
I was about to say, are you using Xbox controller and you just
Yeah.
play it? Yeah.
Yep. And I don't know why they haven't announced it yet, but they've been promising every week that basically they're going to adopt the Sony PC VR2 with the VR2, like the PlayStation VR2.
Yep.
We're going to use those controllers on the AVP.
That'll be nice.
Yeah, perfect, right? Like they were like, listen, they're gonna allow you to buy the controller separately from the PlayStation VR control setup, and just use it with your AVP. Problem solved.
What?
Yeah, it was supposed to launch a couple weeks ago, and then at the last minute, you know how Apple is, they just like they're finding that they're like tightening up the delivery.
Right, they want it to be flawless down to the
Yeah, but
packaging, right?
there's actually another company called called uh, Surreal Touch. They built. It's basically the same thing using a clone of the Meta Quest controllers, and they work with with Apple Vision Pro. They cost about $200. I didn't back them. I did something with them where I'm supposed to be able to buy them at retail, but I just don't feel like spending the extra money yet. Especially, and
Right.
I'm kind of glad now because I have the Sony PlayStation VR set.
VR set, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I got that when they started dumping them.
Yeah, because they were like, they're not even making those anymore, but I guess they're gonna start making them again.
Yeah, well, the crazy thing about it is they're still making them just in much smaller quantities, and it's still a very viable system.
That's interesting.
What really blew my mind is there was a guy on X or Twitter. He was talking about the first version, and the thing about games, I think people always assume that gamers want the latest, highest fidelity. They just What gamers want is more games, like games that are fun.
Yep.
And I have the first PlayStation VR, and I never even opened the box. I just never got around to it. And then we just got to this other place, and now I have the second one. And this person on Twitter was like, "There's hundreds of games that you haven't even seen that are amazing that you can play with the first headset." And I
Right.
was like, I was like, I don't know why I just never opened this thing.
No, I mean there are gamers out there. They don't need the next Final Fantasy 300,
Yeah,
right? Sometimes we just want the original Legend of Zelda, right? We're okay with 8-bit games as long as the plot is good and the character development is fine.
absolutely. And I think children are great examples of this. Roblox, all these different like create your adventure things. They do not give a shit about like the latest, greatest ray tracing.
Nope.
They just want to get in, jump in, have fun, and go.
Yep. Like there was a game on Roblox called Dress to Impress,
Hmm.
and you have to basically they'll have a theme, and then you have to pick whatever outfit you want to make that theme, and then you basically do a catwalk, and then people vote on you that are in the room. That
Yeah,
game blew my mind because I had so much fun in that game, and I was
yeah,
like, "Why am I playing?" I was learning about Roblox,
yeah,
but
yeah,
but then I was like, "It's kind of fun because you just want to win, you want to get on
yeah.
the pedestal." And
Hmm.
I was gonna write an article because I'm back playing Brawl Stars, right?
Okay.
And Brawl Stars is my addiction. I own it. I know it. It's bad. I love playing it. I'm good at it. But I'm back on it and I'm like, why? What's the addiction of it? And then that is the whole thing I want to talk about. Maybe we'll save that for another day.
Yeah,
But like the sounds and the collections and like, oh, you get these trophies. And then their pricing points are brilliant because if you need something, it'll be like 7 more gems and you'll have it. And those are only 99 cents or a dollar
yeah.
99.
They get you. They
Oh my
get you.
gosh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And there was a time I looked back on my history before I uninstalled the game and stopped playing completely. I spent like 27 days straight
Hmm.
over a period of 3 months. So in 3 months, I played whatever the math was of like 27 days. So a third of my waking hours in a 90-day window was playing a video game. That's not healthy.
Well, I think in context, right? Like, what were the other hours filled with?
Oh, like work?
Yeah, like stressful, like things that have such much more higher consequence. Yeah, give me a third of the video games. Like,
No,
great.
no, you need that's it is not conducive to society. It is like we were talking about how are we going to create something that will help people? That does not help people. It almost
I love where this
disengages
is
them.
going. I want to put a pin to it.
Yeah,
You can continue it, but I just want to say this, right? More hours doesn't equal better things.
that's correct.
the fluidity of if you spent 5 hours a day playing that game and it gave you whatever dopamine, whatever level of what you needed, and you switched over, jumped into solve like I've experienced this. Like I've experienced this even more so recently with the AI stuff, right? Like there are times when the day is just a slog, and 1 o'clock in the morning hits, and I'm like, okay, let's lock in. 90 minutes later, I solved a problem that I would have taken in 10 hours to do because it was just a completely different night and day perspective.
Oh, I agree. Like, but the a better, I mean, and maybe I'm over analyzing this, but for me, a better solution is go for a walk, do some
Yeah,
physical
no, I really
exercise.
think that stuff like that is important. One, not everybody can walk. We're already on the
We
88th.
already identified that. That's
Yeah,
fair.
so not everybody can walk, so that's one thing. But the concept of breaks and just stepping away from something, I agree with. I do agree with that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And I've proven that now for myself. Like I biohack myself all the time. I was like, all right,
Mhm.
like I've done intermittent fasting for I don't know, like 18 weeks and I've lost a lot of weight and I've eaten healthier and then I've eaten garbage and I do like all these different things just to see what works for me. Because just
Mhm.
because it works for me, it's not like, oh, I'm going to tell everybody about this amazing thing, right? I don't
Mhm.
do that. I just want to see what works. And I would take, I was like, all right, I'm gonna focus because my focus time is in the morning, 100%.
Mhm.
Um, and I will dedicate that time, and then I will actually take a break around 2 in the afternoon, of something. I don't like I might
Mhm.
take my dogs out for a walk or something like
Mhm.
that, and then I'll come back and I will be energized for the rest of the day to help facilitate whatever I need to do for the rest of the day. Is that still high quality focus time? Absolutely not, because
Mhm.
that's the morning.
Yeah.
But that walk allows and the friend of mine, his name's Benji, would always say, just let that marinate.
Mhm.
And when I go for my walk, whatever problem I'm working on is marinating.
Yeah.
And then I come back and it's literally ready to be consumed. And
Yeah.
that's the reality.
No, and I really like that. I used to. I hate the fact that I have to drive to the belt line, then to get on the belt line and where I wish I could just. And I guess this is why people spend all the money they do to live so close to it, right? Because you could just get on the belt line and just walk. Because yeah, it does solve a lot of problems.
Well, like my commute to work, like by the time I get to work,
Mm-hmm.
keep in mind, I'm not driving, I'm riding the
Mm-hmm.
subway, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I am so mindless now on the subway that I know that routine like the back of my hand. So
Mm-hmm.
it's easy. And by the time I get to work, I already know the first 5 things I want to do.
You're already focused, locked
I
in.
am already locked in by the time
Mm-hmm.
I sit down to that keyboard, and it is amazing. And I literally do more. I mean, it's the army in me, right? I do more
Mm-hmm.
by 10 a.m. than most people do all day, right? And I really believe that. I mean, I do
Yeah.
wake up early, but regardless, I believe that's how I focus. That works great for me. If you need me to have a high intensity meeting at 5 p.m., you're talking to the wrong person.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I we all have our rhythms, and I know my rhythm is between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. Like
Ah,
I can solve a lot of challenges in that time frame. I'm lucid. I'm connected to things in a way that I'm not in the daytime. So my times are 1 to 5, and then 12 to 5. Those are my on times.
wow. And I'm like 6 a.m. to basically 1
Hmm.
is the real time. And then from 7 to probably 11, 7 p.m. to 11.
Yeah, yeah. And I think understanding your times, your circadian rhythm, like and when you're really locked in, I think that's really important because it's not the same for everybody.
Yeah, it's actually, let me correct that. It's 7 to 10 because come 10 o'clock, I'm generally zoned
You're
out.
done, right? You're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool. It is, what time is it? It's like 10 o'clock,
yeah,
10:08.
yep.
And we
10 away.
started late, so we're doing well.
Yep, yep.
We are at, oh wow, I have a little counter. We have literally been live for 59 minutes and 54 seconds. So how's that for a real time?
Yeah, definitely,
And
definitely.
it is the hour mark.
Okay.
um, I definitely want to talk about the way games are addictive. Uh,
Yeah, I definitely would love to talk about that and how to hack that.
and there's ways you can use that for positive too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
So
Just
we'll add that to our content calendar, and we'll
hmm
we'll go from there.
Yep.
Um, cool. Let's wrap this up, and I will talk to you. I probably won't talk to you next week because I'm
Okay.
actually going to be on vacation.
Okay.
But we'll pick it up the following week, and that will be wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Cool. All right, everybody. We are going to tune out, and we will see you in 2 weeks. So, bye, everybody.